But yeah, before we get into Majora's Mask, we're gonna tier list all the dungeons. We're just gonna go in the order that I remember them, and this is personal rating, completely subjective. I may put some dungeons lower than others would, just because I didn't think they were as cool. It's not necessarily the most mechanically interesting or whatnot, but just what I think is cool. Anyway, we're gonna start with a Deku Tree. Now, the Deku Tree, I thought it was just fine, truthfully. Now that might be a hot take. I've seen some people on some forums talk highly of the Deku Tree. I thought it was fine. You know, I think as a starter dungeon, it works great, and we are so. But yes, we are, buddy. As a starter dungeon, it works great, but it was so simple, and I get it. It's a simple starter dungeon. But thematically, I thought it was cool going like into a dying Deku Tree. I thought that was cool, and the boss was kind of cool. But everything else about it was so plain, so we're just gonna baseline it with a C. Next up, I think was Dodongo's Cavern. If I'm not mistaken. Now, this may be an interesting take. I'm putting this in B tier. In terms of like game mechanics and puzzles, it definitely deserves much lower than that. Maybe even a D tier. It was such a simple dungeon, and it was so linear, and there's nothing really interesting going on except thematically. I thought thematically it was super cool. Um, the whole like red rock thing I thought was interesting. It kind of made me think that the reason why the Gorons like the red rock in Dodongo's Cavern so much was because it's enriched with, you know, decomposing Dodongos or something, enriched with something. That's why it's all red. I mean, there's a giant dead Dodongo head here, and all of this red rock that looks like flesh. So I thought that was cool. And this literally this scene right here, that first scene, that for some reason it did something to me. It made me like go back to my childhood a little bit. It really like sucked me in into this scene, and so because of that alone, I'm putting it in B tier. But it probably deserves D tier. Jabba Jabba's Belly, that is another solid C tier dungeon. Uh, Thematically, again, it's super cool going into a giant fish to save the princess, but the princess is just so freaking annoying. Now, I may not hate her as much as others. I didn't think she was that bad. And some people are into the tsunderes, you know? And there was once a time. There was once a time. But did not do it for me this time. And there's cows stuck in the walls. Oh, if I had known, see, if I had played Master Quest mode, that alone would have bumped it up to B tier to me, because I think that's hilarious. Some people. I am some people, Daryl. I admitted it. I said there was once a time. Um, but yeah, she just really didn't do it for me. I thought she was kind of annoying. Not the most annoying. I kind of feel bad saying she's annoying because I don't know, but it was literally the worst kind of escort quest. We have to literally carry them around and everything. So that's why it gets a C tier to me. But because of the theme of Jabba Jabba's belly and like all like the sphincters, like all that grossness and the uvulas, and like seeing the um like his immune system attack the invaders inside his body, that puts it in C tier to me and keeps it out of D tier. I think that's it for the child dungeons, at least the main ones. So after that, I think we went to Forest Temple immediately after getting the Master Sword. That's an easy S tier for me. I thought thematically the Forest Temple was really cool. Now in Twilight Princess, the Arbiter's Grounds is one of my favorite dungeons, and I can see now where they got the inspiration for that, like the pose with the flames. I thought that was really cool, and it was also like surprisingly whimsical. Yeah, the visuals are so cool in the Forest Temple. It was so whimsical. I loved it. Like the music and like the twisting hallways and the ghosts hiding in the paintings. And isn't this where you fight Phantom Ganon in the paintings? So cool. I loved this dungeon so much. The only thing that brings it down for me is that hidden key on top of the freaking tree canopy. I hated that so much. I spent an hour and a half looking for this key, backtracking and looking everywhere, and I could not find it, only to find that it was just in the first room. You just had to look up. But other than that, super solid dungeon. Thematically, puzzle wise, um, everything going on with it. I just love that so much. The next one I did, I think I went to the think they called it's the Ice Cavern. Ice Caverns, we're putting that in D tier. I just didn't think there was anything special about it. It was really short. And the thing I hated the most about it was the backtracking because you always had to go back to like the flame so you could bottle the flame up in order to melt the ice in the future rooms. And you could find like checkpoint flames sometimes. I just did not. I was not a fan of it. Um, I thought the final boss was kind of interesting, but other than that, that's a D tier for me. After that, Water Temple. We're putting Water Temple right to the top, the tippy top of S tier, above the Forest Temple. Now, maybe that's a hot take. I know there's some discourse about the Water Temple online. I think Water Temples get a bad rap. I loved this Water Temple. Now, granted, I think it was aided by the fact that I had some quality of life stuff. I didn't have to pause menu to go change my boots every time I was going into the water. I was able to just use it on an item slot, and that alleviated a lot of the frustration of the backtracking. But I thought this dungeon was super cool. I really like water temples. I really loved the water temple in Twilight Princess as well, and I know that gets a bad rap. But I loved being able to like change the water levels and figure out where I'm supposed to go next. And this probably has like the best mini boss that I've ever seen in any of the Zelda games. Now, I had heard of Shadow Link before, or Dark Link, I think is what they call it. But I didn't know where they came from. I just knew they existed because I'd played Smash Bros. And there was a Dark Link skin. And people talked about him, but I didn't know it was from this game, and I didn't know like what context it was. So it genuinely startled me when I turned around and Dark Link was just chilling there on the tree, and I thought that was so cool, and that was a really cool moment. The only thing that brings this temple down is the final boss. Final boss was kind of mid, maybe even less than mid. It was really simple. It was really easy. It's kind of forgettable. But I'm not gonna let that drag it down too far. I loved this dungeon so much. We were water temple defenders, water level defenders. I loved this water temple. After that, I believe it was the fire temple. Fire temple gets a solid A for me. There's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't resonate with me as much as the water temple and the forest temple. Thematically, I thought it was cool. It was interesting. I liked the mechanic of going around like to save the Gorons from these prisons, and then each of them giving you little hints. I thought that was interesting and that was cool. The final boss was probably the coolest out of a lot of these final bosses where you're fighting that big dragon. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. It just didn't quite resonate with me as much. The puzzles were a little simpler. You know, they give you the hints of hitting the walls with your sword to find out where it sounds different so you can blow it up, but you don't need to do that because they make it obvious with how it looks. So it's kind of a waste in that sense, but I still thought it was good and better than all of these. I believe it's the well, another S tier for me. Now this isn't a full dungeon, it's like a half dungeon, but man, thematically they really knocked it out of the park. I thought this was so cool. um I It kind of came out of the blue for me when I like came into Kakariko Village and like all of that stuff happened where like the spirit like escaped and whatnot. Um, but man, it was so cool to go down there and all of the dark themes, the skulls, the fake walls, which genuinely startled me a couple times. Like I fell through the floor once and got startled. Like the lone re-dead at the bottom. Like who knows what happened to that guy and how he ended up down there, or how they ended up down there. And like thematically it was just so cool and it was so dark and grim. And yeah, the death hand, no thank you. That thing is terrifying. It gives me the same feeling from like the gloom hands from Tears of the Kingdom, and I hate those so much. I hate it. Uh, I think the part I hate about it the most is just like I don't like feeling like I'm not in control when something scary is in front of me, and they literally just make it so you can't move, and it sucks, and they're terrifying, and like their design is terrifying, and there's no reason why that should be in a game that's rated E10 and up. Um, but yeah, I loved the well. I thought it was really well done. Pun not intended. Every time, yeah, he's literally a kid. He's 10 years old. It's insane. Like when I was 10, I was playing RuneScape and I was pretending to be a woman so I could scam people out of gold and items. I'm not doing whatever he's doing. But man, yeah, I loved the well so much. Shadow Temple, I thought was also really well done, but I don't think it was quite as good as the well. Um, it just wasn't quite as creepy. Like they had the themes there with like the scythe people and like the Redeads and the River Styx boats. I just don't think it was quite as good. Maybe that's because the novelty was with the well. Like maybe if I had done one before, like flipped which order I was able to do them in, I'd have a different opinion. But I did really like the tomb where you like they hint at Hyrule's dark and bloody past. That's really cool. They don't really talk about Hyrule being like bad people or evil. Like it's always some idealistic fantasy kingdom until Ganon comes and ruins it. But you can see that that's not always the case. And I really like that they hint to that, and so that I really thought that was cool too. But the majority of the dungeon I thought was not quite as interesting as that tomb section and the well. The what would we call this? The sand temple, the desert temple, probably desert temple. I don't really. Oh, this was. I do remember this one now. Yeah, this was the mirror spirit temple. That's what you call it. The mirror. I think I'm gonna put this one in A tier as well. Not because I didn't enjoy it. I actually really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really cool that you had to go back as Child Link and do a bunch of stuff, and then come back as Adult Link to finish it out. And I really liked the reveal of the things that you have been fighting, like those big knights, to be actually just brainwashed Gerudo, and they make you feel real bad. Yeah, and then Noboru, like that was like I felt so bad. It was like stabbing my heart a little bit. I think the thing that's keeping this from S tier was I just hated that final boss so much. I think it was the worst out of the bunch. Thematically, the final boss is great. I think like the two witches and the ice and the fire and seeing them and what they become at the end was really cool. But mechanically, it was a slog. It was so slow and it was kind of finicky. Um, and the mechanics just weren't quite there. If it was made today and they did that, amazing boss. But just the limitations, I think it was just a little too clunky for me to enjoy it to its fullest. This is the Trial Temple at Gerudo Village. I think this gets a B tier or a C tier. I didn't think there was anything too special about it. It was just kind of fine. Um, Not too much happened. I hated running through all the doors at the end, and that's why it's C tier, not B tier. Uh, it was just kind of annoying, and finding the last like little bits of keys was also kind of annoying. Final dungeon, Ganon's castle. Now, I don't really know where to place this because there are parts of it that I love, but there are parts of it that are kind of just meh, you know? Um, I think I have to put it S tier, probably right there, just for the ending alone. Now, I did think like it's almost like a boss rush, but it's like a dungeon rush where you're gonna go through little bits of every dungeon. I thought that part was interesting and it was really cool, but it just wasn't as fleshed out as I would have liked it to be. Just because they could only fit so much. But I thought it was really interesting. Um, but what I loved about this was just the final boss in general. Like the energy ball tennis is very simple, but just the act of running up the tower and like you hear the organ playing and then you open the door and Ganon's just playing the organ or farming you the whole time. Like that's so cool. And the fact that when you defeat him initially, the entire tower starts collapsing. I thought that was so ambitious for the technology, and you can see some of the limitations. Like Zelda kind of just floats through; she doesn't ever jump or anything. But I thought it was really cool escaping the collapsing tower and then fighting Ganondorf as Beast Ganon um, in the ruins of his castle. I thought all of that was really cool. Rainbow Bridge was great. Yeah, the Rainbow Bridge was really cool too. Um, I have a gripe with it, and my only gripe is that you have to stand in a very specific spot to trigger that cutscene. I don't know if you saw in the VOD when I did that, but I ran around for like 20 minutes trying to figure out what to do because I didn't stand in that specific spot to trigger that cutscene. I'm so sorry that you had to experience that. They should have made the trigger box bigger. That's all I'm saying. I saw that there was no path, so I was like, well, I gotta go find one, and I didn't even think to just walk up to that edge. Anyway, but yeah, it was all very cool, and it kind of like the act of all of the sages coming together, to build the bridge. Skill. It really was a skill issue, to be honest. And then the sages coming together to also give you the power to enter, like break the shield and enter Ganondorf's castle. I thought that was all really cool. The tower itself was kind of basic. You're kind of just climbing up and defeating a few bosses here, and then there weren't really any puzzles. But the payoff, I think, is what puts it in S tier for me. Favorite sage? Ooh, that's a hard one. I think my favorite sage would probably be Darunia, just because I feel like he's a good vibes guy. He's always just down. He feels like he's always down to clown. I think Saria is also really cool, like the whole childhood friend thing. It's kind of tragic, but I think I'd go with Darunia. Yeah, and there you go. That's my tier list.